got to the front of the line, and the registrar looked up and said, "Bill, what are you doing here? You registered this."
Hey guys, I'm just trying to react to this Clinton video. Maybe it's gonna be fun. We'll see.
I turned red, and she laughed, that big laugh of hers. And I thought, well, heck, since my cover's been blown, I just went ahead and asked her to take a walk down to the art museum.
Right now he's talking about courting Hillary,
We've been walking,
which is dangerous because he's a rapist.
Together ever since. And we've done it in good times and bad, through joy and heartbreak.
Heartbreak.
We cried together this morning on the news that our good friend and a lot of your good friend, Mark Weiner, passed away early this morning.
People clap.
We built up a lifetime of memories. After the first month and that first walk, I actually drove her home to Park Ridge, Illinois.
She was unconscious because they gave her Rufalin and ketamine.
To meet her family and see the town where she grew up. A perfect example of post-World War II middle-class America. Street after street of nice houses, great schools, good parks, a big public swimming pool.
And it sickened us, so we destroyed it.
And almost all white.
All
really
white.
liked her family.
Oh, white. Ah!
Crusty conservative father.
Crusty!
All extolling the virtues of rooting for the Bears.
Look at his hands shake. Look at him. He can't fucking control himself. He's...
For the people from Illinois here, they even told me what waiting for next year meant.
Look at him go.
Could be next year, guys. Now, her mother was different. She was more liberal than the boys. And she had a childhood that made mine look
Women
like a piece of cake.
good. Men bad.
She was easy to underestimate with her soft manner, and she reminded me all over again of the truth of that old saying, you should never judge a book by its covers. Knowing her was one of the greatest gifts Hillary ever gave me. I learned that Hillary got her introduction to social justice through her Methodist youth minister.
Social justice. Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
Downtown to Chicago to hear Dr. Martin Luther King speak. And he remained her friend for the rest of his life.
Until she had him killed.
This will be the only campaign of hers he ever missed. When she got to college, her support for civil rights, her opposition to the Vietnam War, compelled her to change parties and become a Democrat. And then, between college and law school, on a total lark, she went alone to Alaska and spent some time sliming fish. More to the point, by the time I met her, she had already been...
They clapped more for fish than they did civil rights.
And she'd been influenced by Marion Wright Edelman. She took a summer internship interviewing workers in migrant camps for Senator Walter Mondale's subcommittee. She'd also begun working in the Yale New Haven Hospital to develop procedures to handle suspected child abuse cases. She got so involved in children's issues.
Yeah, like, you know, defending a child rapist.
A year in law school, working at the Child Study Center to learn
rich.
what more could be done to improve the lives and the futures of poor children.
You guys didn't know this. She got a pedophile off on sexual assault on a minor, 12 years old, and then laughed about it later in an interview.
She was already determined to figure out how to make things better. Hillary opened my eyes to a whole new world of public service
And rape.
private citizen.
Oh, no, it wasn't
In the
rape.
summer of 1972, she went to Dothan, Alabama to visit one of those segregated academies that then enrolled over 500,000 white kids in the South. The only way the economics worked is that they claimed federal tax exemptions to which they were not legally entitled.
Legally entitled? They're talking law! The Clintons! Oh, shit.
Herself, pretending to be a housewife that had just moved to town and needed to find a school for her son. And they exchanged pleasantries, and finally she said, look, let's just get to the bottom line
I'm
here.
gonna add somebody to Skype.
If I enroll my son in this school, will he be in a segregated school, yes or no? And the guy said, absolutely. She had him. I've seen it 1,000 times since. And she went back, and her encounter was part of a report that gave Marion Wright Edelman the ammunition she needed to keep working, to force the Nixon administration to take those tax exemptions away and give our kids access to an equal education.
An equal education, and they immediately panned to the black people. Weird.
Then she went down to South Texas, where she met one of the nicest fellows I ever met, the wonderful union leader Franklin Garcia, and he helped her register Mexican American voters. I think some of them are still around to vote for her in 2016. And then,
Build the wall.
in our last year in law school, Hillary kept up this work. She went to South Carolina to see why so many young African-American boys, I mean young teenagers, were being jailed for years with adults.
You mean the super predators?
In prison. And she filed a report on that, which led to some changes too. Always making things better.
Always making them better for herself and for him.
Meanwhile, let's get back to business. I was trying to convince her to marry me. I first proposed to her on a trip to Great Britain, the first time she'd ever been overseas, and we were on the shoreline of this wonderful little lake, Lake Innerdale. I asked her to marry me, and she said, I can't do it.
She said, "Blah," because she was unruffling.
So in 1974, I went home to teach in the law school, and Hillary moved to Massachusetts to keep working on children's issues.
Doesn't Pocahontas run Massachusetts? No.
Trying to figure out why so many kids counted in the census weren't enrolled in school. She found one of them sitting alone on her porch in a wheelchair.
She murdered him.
Once more, she filed a report about these kids, and that helped influence ultimately the Congress to adopt the proposition that children with disabilities, physical or otherwise, should have equal access.
Ooh, he's having a hard time recognizing his words. He doesn't remember his words. Check the teleprompters.
You saw the results of that last night when Anastasia Somoza talked. She never made fun of people with disabilities. She tried to empower them based on their abilities.
Actually, fun fact, according to eyewitness testimony, Hillary called disabled kids on the White House lawn during an Easter basket search or whatever fucking retards. So, yeah.
The second time I asked, I tried a different tack. I said, I really want you to marry me, but you shouldn't do it. She smiled and looked at me like, what is this boy up to? She said, that is not a very good sales pitch. I said, I know, but it's true. And I meant it. It was true.
Because I'm going to rape so many women while we're married.
who want They mean well.
What a fucking criminal.
Well, but none of them is as good as you are at actually doing things to make positive changes in people's lives. So, I suggested she go home to Illinois or move to New York and look for a chance to run for office. She just laughed and said, are you out of your mind? Nobody would ever vote for me.
Totally right! Nobody's going to vote for her!
The people at the law school were so impressed after their teaching position. And she decided to take a huge chance. She moved to a strange place, more rural, more culturally conservative than any place she'd ever been, where she knew good and well people were wondering what in the world she was like and whether they could or should accept him. Didn't take them long to find out what she was like. She loved her teaching, and she got frustrated when one of her students said, well, what do you expect? I'm just from Arkansas. She said, don't tell me that. You're as smart as anybody. You just got to believe in yourself and work for it.
Oh,
When we passed
awesome.
this
There we go.
brick house that had a for sale sign on it, and she said, boy, that's a pretty house. It had 1,100 square feet, an attic fan and no air conditioner in hot Arkansas,
Oh my God.
and a screened-in porch. Hillary commented on
Talking
it,
to fucking
uniquely designed and
virtually
beautiful
billionaires
house.
now.
So I took a big chance.
Oh, look at their humble beginnings.
I bought the house. My mortgage was $175 a month. When she came back, I picked her up and I said, you remember that house you liked? She said, yeah. I said, while you were gone, I bought it. You have to marry me now. The third time was the charm.
Ooh, tricky Bill. Tricky Bill. He knows what you want. He knows what the ladies want.
We were married. We were married in that little house on October the 11th, 1975. I married my best friend. I was still in awe after more than 4 years of being around her at how smart and strong and loving and caring she was. And I really hoped that her choosing me and rejecting my advice to pursue her own career was a decision she would never regret.
Should have
Over
ran.
a year later, we moved to Little Rock when I became Attorney General, and she joined the oldest law firm west of the Mississippi. Soon after, she started a group called the Arkansas Advocates for Families and Children. It's a group, as you can hear, is still active today.
We definitely didn't pay to get them here. And that one screaming shilling woman that had absolutely nothing to do with what just transpired. Hey, here's my daughter that's actually not mine. It's actually...
I
was actually cocked.
Committee to help expand health care to isolated farm and mountain areas. They recommended to do that partly by deploying trained nurse practitioners in places with no
God, how boring is the speech.
to provide primary
Well,
care.
I think I'm going to go grab a beer. This is... I'm sorry. I'll edit this out if necessary.
And very
Fucking
important.
BRB.
And I got the feeling that what she did for the rest of her life, she was doing there. She just went out and figured out what needed to be done and what made the most sense and what would help the most people. And then if it was controversial, she just tried to persuade people it was the right thing to do. It wasn't the only big thing that happened that spring. My first year as governor, we found out we were going to be clean. And
All right. I'm back. Did he admit to the rapes yet? No?
on February 27th, 1980, 15 minutes after I got home from the National Governors Conference in Washington, Hillary's water broke, and off we went to the hospital.
On the Lolita Express.
Chelsea was born just before midnight.
That is not her. That is not his kid. I'm sorry. It's not his kid. Look at that. That's. Where do you see Bill Clinton in that face?
It was
Did
the
anybody?
best moment of my life. The miracle of a new beginning. The whole fills for me because
Oh, look at her cuck boyfriend.
before I
Oh.
was born. And the absolute conviction that my daughter had the best mother in the whole world.
Shaky, shaky.
For the next 17 years,
Did he say her lips?
through nursery school, Montessori, kindergarten,
He said her lips.
t-ball, softball, soccer, volleyball, and her passion for ballet. Through sleepovers, summer camps, family vacations, and Chelsea's own very ambitious excursions. From Halloween parties in the neighborhood to a Viennese waltz gala in the White House.
What?
Hillary, first and foremost, was a mother. She became, as she often said, our family's designated warrior. Born
That she was
with
gonna get
extra
caught.
responsibility gene. Truth is, we rarely disagreed on parenting, although she...
LOL when people like still listen to Bill Clinton and accept what he's saying when he says truth is.
...to watch all 6 Police Academy movies back to back. When Chelsea was 9 months old, I was defeated for re-election in the Reagan landslide. And I became overnight, I think, the youngest former governor in the history of the country.
I think. Good.
Hillary was great. Immediately she said, okay, what are we going to do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a house. You're going to get a job. We're going to enjoy being Chelsea's parent. And if you really want to run again, you got to go out and talk to people, figure out why you lost, tell people you got the message, and show them you still got good ideas. I followed her advice. Within 2 days, we had a house. I soon had a job. We had 2 fabulous years with Chelsea, and in 1982, I became the first governor in the history of our state to be elected, defeated, and elected again.
And then I ignored Chelsea again.
I think my experience is it's a pretty good thing to follow her advice. The rest of the decade sort of flew by as our lives settled into a rhythm of family and work and friends. In 1983, Hillary chaired a committee to recommend new education standards for us as a part of, or in response to a court order to equalize school funding, and a report by a national expert that said our woefully underfunded schools were the worst in America.
Anybody realize like all this shit that he's talking about it doesn't have anything to do with the pulse of what most Americans find actually compelling and the reasons that they're voting? Just like really silly like anecdotes of like Hillary did something good on this shit that doesn't matter to anybody. Can we take bets on if he's going to say anything about ISIS? Fuck this guy. You gonna mention Hillary's contributions to foreign governments, from foreign governments to buy favors? You gonna mention her track record as Secretary of State? You gonna mention her colossal failures? No, you don't want to hint on any of that? Okay.
Looks to me like we elected the wrong Clinton. Well, by the time I ran for president 9 years later, the same expert who said that we had the worst schools in America said that our state was one of the 2 most improved states in America. And that's because of those standards that Hillary developed. Now,
God, without makeup, his face looks like a skeleton. His eyes are just sinking into his head, just shaky. It's good shit.
In Israel called HIPPY, Home Instruction Program for Preschool Youngsters. The idea was to teach low-income parents, even those that couldn't read, to be their children's first teachers. She said she thought it would work in Arkansas. I said, that's great. What are we going to do about it? She said, oh, I already did. I called the woman who started the program in Israel. She'll be here in about 10 days.
William Cunkton. All right. Great.
Next thing you know,
all right, yeah, obviously I'm biased here. I fucking hate these criminals, but just pay attention to the actual, like, real response from the crowd. People like Bill Clinton more than they like Hillary, and they're just sitting here watching him try and throw her up on this pedestal with these very weak platitudes and anecdotes. It's very sad. Look how enthusiastic, look how enthusiastic they are. Look at the crowd! Everybody's dead. Nobody's waving shit.
To improve readiness for school and academic achievement. There are a lot of young adults in America who have no idea Hillary had anything to do with it, who are enjoying better lives because they were in that program. She did all this while being a full-time worker, a mother, and enjoying our life.
You can't be a full-time worker and a full-time mother.
Well, she's insatiably curious. She's a natural leader. She's a good organizer.
A horrible mother.
She's the best darn change maker I ever met in my entire life.
God, she's so screwed.
So,
Change maker. That's they literally ripped off Obama shit.
If you believe in making change from the bottom up, if you believe in changes how many people's lives are better, you know it's hard and some people think it's boring. Speeches like this are fun. Actually doing the work is hard. So people say, well, we need to change.
Yeah, it's really hard to become a billionaire by being a corrupt dick face.
She sure has. And she's sure been worth every single year she's put into making people's lives better.
It's funny, I'll link to this later, but Changemaker, these are all new signs. They had some other shit out earlier that was basically like, well, she's not that bad, to sort of appease the Bernie people. But they locked out the Bernie people, and now they just filled it with shills that have these new signs. Changemaker, how weak.
On every long walk, you would say, this woman has never been satisfied with the status quo in anything. She always wants to move the ball forward. That is just who she is.
And by the ball, he means her personal bank account and power influence.
When I became president, with a commitment to reform health care, Hillary was a natural to head the health care task force. You all know we failed because we couldn't break a Senate filibuster. Hillary immediately went to work on solving the problems the bill sought to address one by one. The most important goal was to get more children with health insurance. In 1997, Congress passed the Children's Health Insurance Program, still an important part of President Obama's Affordable Care Act. It insures more than 8 million kids. There are a lot of other things in that bill that she got done, piece by piece.
I wonder if anybody's ever done some stats on how much these insurance companies made after supposedly we're helping all these kids.
With the House Minority Leader, Tom DeLay.
Oh, they have.
Maybe dislike me more than
They made a shit ton of money.
Gingrich's crowd. They worked on a bill together to increase adoptions of children out of foster care. She wanted to do it because she knew that Tom DeLay, for all of our differences, was an adopted parent, and she honored him for doing that. Now,
I wonder if he's going to touch race or Islam.
Which passed with an overwhelming bipartisan majority, led to a big increase in the adoption of children out of foster
rape.
care, including non-infant kids,
Definitely gonna rape.
special needs kids.
I just mean if he's gonna talk about it in this
Because she's a
speech.
changemaker. That's what she does.
Feminists may concern white males are bad, rape is bad. Come on, Bill.
When you're doing all this,
Concern
your
rape.
life doesn't
Talk
stop.
about it.
1997 was the year Chelsea finished high school and went to college. We were happy for her, but sad for us to see her go. I'll never forget moving her into her dorm room at Stanford. It would have been a great little reality flick.
It's so sad. Look at his
There
hands.
I was in a trance, just staring out the window, trying not to cry. And there was Hillary on her hands and knees, desperately looking for one more drawer to put that liner paper in. Finally, Chelsea took charge and told us ever so gently that it was time for us to go.
So he's had two actual personal stories about his daughter, quote unquote, two, from what I've counted. Maybe I'm wrong, but two. The rest of them were just general platitudes about Halloween and, oh, Chelsea's so good, and here's some general shit that happens in your life, born, blah blah blah. They don't have any actual story because they don't give a shit about their kids. They bought her silence.
Fast forward. In 1999, Congressman Charlie Rangel and other New York Democrats
Oh, good, Charlie Rangel.
urged Hillary
Those are Black Lives Matter people.
urged Hillary to run for the seat of retiring Senator Pat Moynihan. We'd always intended to go to New York after I left office and commute to Arkansas, but this had never occurred to either one of us. Hillary had never run for office before, but she decided to give it a try.
Politically successful family. Totally manipulate votes and use their power to gain wealth and power. And even more power. Yeah, never occurred to them that she was going to run something. Never occurred to them. Oh, boy.
Another outsider, Robert Kennedy.
God, these people are evil.
And She didn't let him down. Her early years were dominated by 9/11. By working to fund the recovery, then monitoring the health of the...
Hillary did 9/11. Wasn't Bush, it was Hillary. It's a fact.
She and Senator Schumer were
Quote me on it. Totally 100% serious.
In 2003,
or something.
partly spurred on by what we were going through, she became the first senator in the history of New York ever to serve on the Armed Services Committee. So she tried to make sure people on the battlefield had proper equipment. She tried to expand and did expand.
And then they sold uranium to Russia, and Bill, who had never been given a speaking opportunity before for that nation, got $750,000 for a speech for the company that facilitated it. K, definitely not corrupt.
She also served on a special Pentagon commission to propose changes necessary to meet our new security challenges. Newt Gingrich is on that commission. He told me what a good job she'd done.
And Newt Gingrich is an establishment shell too.
Because nobody who has seriously dealt with the men and women in today's military believes they are a disaster. They are a national treasure of all races, all religions, all walks of life.
All religions. All religions are good.
Meanwhile, she compiled a really solid record, totally progressive on economic and social issues. She voted for and against some proposed trade deals. She became the de facto economic development officer for the area of New York outside the ambit of New York City. She worked for farmers, for winemakers, for small businesses and manufacturers.
Definitely not for herself. Definitely not for herself. By the way, earlier when I said fucking billionaires, I'm talking about Clinton Foundation. Their actual net worth, and we were talking tens of millions. But they've made more money than any politician ever. You don't do that because you were just so good. You do that. Look at the views. Yeah, you do that because you're corrupt as shit and you sell favors.
Obama in 2008, she worked for his election hard, but she hesitated to say yes when he asked her to join his cabinet because she so loved being a senator from New York. So, like me in a different context, he had to keep asking. But as we all saw and heard from Madeleine Albright, it was worth the effort.
Is Bill on meth? Fuck, even with those, that kicked on makeup, like, his eyes are sunk real hard. This looks like a drug-abused body.
And in what the Wall Street Journal no less
Shaky,
called
shaky.
a half-court shot at the buzzer. She got Russia and China to support them. Her team negotiated the New START treaty with Russia to reduce nuclear weapons and reestablish in space.
Reduce nuclear weapons! They sold uranium to Russia! There's no fucking way this is happening. Oh my god.
To get a ceasefire that would avoid a full-out shooting war between Gaza between Hamas and Israel in Gaza. To protect the peace of the region. She backed President Obama's decision to go after Osama bin Laden. She launched a team.
Oh, you should have paused longer on that one, Bill.
She launched a team to fight back against terrorists online.
Oh!
Built a new global counterterrorism.
Terrorists. Let's see if he says Muslim or Islam.
Win this battle
I got $1,000.
in the mind field.
Literally.
She put climate change at the center of our foreign policy.
Oh, no Islam, no Muslim. Weird. Weird. All religions.
China and India officially committed to reduce their emissions. And as she had been doing,
And Al Gore made a shit ton of money. Because you guys are liars.
Women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights. She worked
20%! I want you guys to just think about this for a second. 20%. Fuck. Can I turn down the volume?
on behalf of the LGBT community.
20% of the Clinton Foundation is funded by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia openly kills gays and subjugates women, makes them slaves, and we're hearing all this fantastic shit. Okay, Bill, thanks.
Nobody ever talks about this much, but it's important to me.
Yeah, nobody talks about it much, Bill.
The number of people with AIDS in poor countries whose lives are being saved with your tax dollars, most of them in Africa.
Oh my God.
Going from 1.7 million lives to 5.1 million lives, and it didn't cost you any more money. She just bought available, FDA-approved generic drugs, something we need to do for the American people more. Now, you don't know any of these people. You don't know any of those 3.4 million people, but I'll guarantee you they know you. They know you because they see you as thinking their lives matter. They know you. And that's one reason the approval of the United States was 20 points higher when she left the Secretary of State's office than when she took it. Now, how does this square? How does this square with the things that you heard at the Republican convention? What's the difference in what I told you and what they said? How do you square it? You can't. One is real, the other is made up.
Did not have sexual relations with that woman.
You just have to decide.
No booze, no Bernie people. Weird. Pocahontas. Look at her, she's so Indian. She's just such a Native American.
Which is which, my fellow Americans? The real one had done more positive change making before she was 30 than many public officials do in a lifetime in office.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders didn't have a job till he was 40, but I guess we're not about that right now.
The real one, if you saw her friend Betsy Eveling vote for Illinois today, has friends from childhood through Arkansas, where she has not lived in more than 20 years, who have gone all across America at their own expense to fight for the person they know. The real one has earned the loyalty, the respect, and the fervent support of people who have worked with her in every stage of her life, including leaders around the world who know her to be able, straightforward, and completely trustworthy. The real one calls you when you're
They're not doing pan-outs on the crowd anymore.
Trouble, or
by the way.
The death in the family. The real one repeatedly do praise from prominent Republicans when she was a senator and Secretary of State.
And bond favors.
So what's up with it?
Oh, quick takeaway from the pan-out.
Well, if you win elections on the
Nobody was
theory
excited.
that government is always bad and will mess up a two-car parade, a real change maker represents a real threat. So,
Yeah, that's why Donald Trump's in the polls, because he's a quote-unquote real change maker.
a cartoon alternative. Then run against the cartoon. Cartoons are two-dimensional. They're easy to absorb. Life in the real world is complicated, and real change is hard. And a lot
He's
of
talking about Donald Trump as a cartoon, which is hysterical, especially considering the meme warfare, which is mostly cartoons, which was literally better than what we're looking at.
You nominated the real one.
Oh, they nominated her. Oh, I can't wait for the next DNC leaks. Those are going to be great. Look how dead the fuck... Look. Nobody's excited. Like, oh, hey, from that angle. Look at the signs.
Listen,
Movement from those people. Close-ups show nobody gives a shit. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks.
back on schedule. You guys calm down.
Nobody's excited.
Look,
Fuck, did you... Man, go back and watch just that segment. Look at anybody's face and see how excited and awesome they seem. Shaky, shaky. Shaky, shaky.
when I met and
Shaky, shaky, shaky. Definitely not a bunch of cocaine abuse.
when I was president, I worked hard to give you more peace and shared prosperity, to give you an America where nobody is invisible or counted out.
And to give you a war in Kosovo and Bosnia-Herzegovina that we didn't need to be involved in.
Uniquely qualified to seize the opportunities and reduce the risk we face. And she is still the best darn change maker I have ever known.
God, she makes a lot of change. Like, that's for real. She makes so much change. Usually it's because, you know, she's selling out your freedoms, rights, and tax dollars for political favors and contributions. But tons of change.
Come back in a month, and somehow, some way, she will have made it better. That is just who she is.
Oh my God, this fucking rapist.
Achievable, affordable, responsive
Sociopath.
challenges. But we won't get to them if America makes the wrong choice in this election. That's why you should elect her. And you should elect her because she'll never quit when the going gets tough.
She's going to make some more change.
She'll never quit on you. She sent me in this primary to West Virginia, where she knew we were going to lose, to look those coal miners in the eye and say,
I was just kidding.
I'm down here because Hillary sent me to tell you that if you really think you can get the economy back you had 50 years ago, have at it, go wherever you want to. But if she wins, she is coming back for you to take you along on the ride to America's future.
This is a big deal because coal miners are huge in West Virginia, and Hillary literally said she was going to shut down the coal mines, and it lost her a shit ton of support in West Virginia, which typically votes Democrat. And Trump is fucking killing it there.
You love this country, you're working hard, you're paying taxes, and you're obeying the law, and you'd like to become a citizen, you should choose immigration reform over somebody who wants to send you back.
If you're illegal, be aware of laws.
If you're a Muslim and you love America and freedom and you hate terror, stay here and help us win and make the future together.
Yes, please. Muslims that hate terror, please stay here. Like, there's one, like, douchebag, like, throwing a sign up. Nobody's actually excited. Yes, Muslims that hate terror, please stop. Stop accepting these terrorists into our country.
A young African American disillusioned.
Oh, you can't say black? Okay.
We saw in Dallas how
Bill
great
Panders Clinton.
our police officers can be. Help us build a future where nobody's afraid to walk outside, including the people that wear blue, to protect our future.
Yeah, maybe condemn those people that are killing those officers based on race relations. Look at the black guy. Look how excited he is. Fuck, he's like, fuck, I'm betraying my people.
Will make us stronger together. You know it because you spent a
one guy
lifetime
screams. Okay.
doing it.
Really? Shaky,
I hope
shaky.
you'll do it. I hope you'll elect her.
You can keep hoping, Bill.
Those of us who have more yesterdays than tomorrow.
So she can make some more change for that Clinton Foundation.
About our children and grandchildren.
Fuck.
The reason you should elect her.
It's 'cause she fucked your primary candidate.
Country on earth.
Oh.
We have always been about tomorrow. Your children and grandchildren.
They're gonna belong to us tomorrow.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right, I'll stop this nonsense. All right, well, now let's watch the people that are actually excited in the crowd. Like, we see a lot of big signs, and not a lot of them are waving. They didn't do a lot of close-ups on people's faces. Oh shit! It's like everybody holding a sign is literally blocking out how excited people are in the crowd. It's almost like it's a play for optics. I wonder why they do that. That's weird. Shouldn't they be showing all the very excited people in the crowd? Oh gosh, they're so excited. Oh, we got some movement over here. Oh, high density of signs. Oh, look, Bill Clinton's not son or not daughter. Yet nobody's. Fuck. Did you guys watch the RNC? Oh, get out of here, you twat. All right, I'm done with this. That's it for me, guys. I don't know if you guys liked it or not. I actually really want to do viewing parties for stuff like this. I didn't think about it until the speech started happening, but we'll see what happens. Thanks, guys. I wanted to add something else. That's all right. Yep. Till next time.